Hey everyone, welcome to Snowed In with Leticia and Jen Remauro. Hey Jen, how are you?
How are you?
I am good. I am good. We are waiting for our audience to jump on. It takes a couple of minutes, I know, for all of you to know that we're here live and ready to entertain you with our I'm going to move that. That's my sippy cup. uh, we're ready to entertain you with what's going on in the news. So Jen, tell us, how was your week since last week?
I was very busy. I just got a new stove because my clock broke, so they replaced it because Irby likes to waste money, I guess. But that's
So
fine.
so your clock was broken, so they gave you a new stove.
Yes, and the clock was broken on the microwave, and I got a new microwave 2 weeks ago. So now I'm just
Hmm.
gonna start in here. I'll have all new apartment. The fridge is next. I'm gonna figure out how to do that.
I'm trying to think of what I mean. If you if you complained about Jimmy, do you think that they'd replace him with like a 20-year-old?
Probably, probably.
I like this.
I have
Just
to go
wipe
look
this.
in the storage room and see what they have, where they
Uh,
keep all the stuff that you get.
this is now. I guess it's like millennial behavior, right? I don't know how to fix it, so we'll just give you something new.
Even the dryer. I got a new dryer too. 2 weeks. That's what you get for $2,500 a month. New
All
stuff.
right. So we're giving bells to Irby because if you live there, they will replace if you complain, they'll replace your goods. Totally, total replacement. Okay.
You wear heels on their fake flooring, and there's a little dent when you move. They charge you like $1,500.
Well, I guess that's how they pay for the stove. Our show is called Snowed In Still because we only had one person offer a new name, and that was my mom. And it's called, and she thought, "Wouldn't you like to know?" would be a good name. But keep your everyone else, keep your stuff coming in. We just don't know if "Wouldn't you like to know" will fit on the graphic, but if you think that's great, let us know. We're Lucille Chavone is with us, our OG fan. Thanks, Lucille.
All right.
She's even better than Grandma.
Can we call her on the phone, Grandma?
Uh, well, we could. I thought you meant Lucille. Lucille's probably up for it. Uh, well, we could call her on the phone, but I asked her to be part of the show. And she said, "I can't. My hair is not done. I can't. I can't. Maybe ask me next week. Ask me next week." So next week I'll be in South Carolina. So maybe I'll get her to come and sit next to me. Would you guys like to see my mom? The OG comedian actually on the show. If so, write in and encourage Josephine to be on the show. So, Jen, did you read the news?
Maybe. Which news?
Well, we're called Snowed In for now. And yesterday, frozen potatoes closed I-95 eastbound in Minnesota. The transportation officials in Minnesota said a stretch of highway was closed Thursday when a truck lost its load of potatoes and the spuds froze in place on the road. They literally they couldn't move traffic yesterday morning because there were mashed potatoes on the road.
They did
So
that
how's
right
that?
time because didn't Meatloaf die today?
That's right.
The singer?
Meatloaf, the singer, died today. So meatloaf and mashed potatoes. Now talk about an interesting and exciting news cycle. When you have meatloaf and mashed potatoes in the same news cycle, I mean, my brain is spinning. It's fantastic. Well, speaking about transportation, this is a friend of yours, Jen Remauro.
Yes. Yes, Pete Davidson. Yes, the dirty fingernail. I love him.
Well, tell everybody what he did.
He bought him and Colin Jost and Paul Italia, who owns the stand where I used to work in the city. They collectively came together and they bought the Staten Island ferry, the JFK ferry. I think that's what it was, the retired one. And they're going to make it a live entertainment venue. So we'll see how long that takes. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they're going to do with it, but it sounds interesting. I'm going to have to be nice to Pete from now on because I'm going to want to work. So, but it's very interesting, I think, for Staten Island at least.
And they got a bargain, $250,000 only for the ferry.
150.
It was
They
150.
That's it.
So how come? Here's what I want to know. So maybe some of our audience can chime in here. So they sold it for 150, but when we get a new ferry, it costs like millions. You know, I don't understand it. So I mean, really, used ferries, you know, go for the depreciation on a ferry.
My car is almost that much money. My car's not. I could have. Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, and do they have to pay to park it? I guess they have to pay the city.
Well, you don't get anything for free in the city. The city's not like Irby. You know, I'd like to complain to the city about myself and see if they could give me some free.
I've been about my apartment. Hopefully they'll move me. I want a better one. Everything else is.
Complain about your view and see what they do.
Yeah.
Well, you know, here's the thing about the ferry. I think it's fantastic. I think that I want to give bells to Pete Davidson and to Colin Jost and Paul Italia. Is he a friend of yours, Jen?
Yeah, he owns a stand where I used to work in the city. You and Daddy came there a couple of times, all the way up.
Oh yeah, the comedy club.
Mm-hmm.
So the three of them are giving back to Staten Island, and I think that is absolutely fantastic. The thing I wonder though is, so you got a ferry, and if you presumably they'll park it in the water, and it'll become a comedy club. So, I mean, drunk people on the ferry in the water. How many people do we expect are going to be overboard?
Knowing Pete, he'll probably move it out and go to Manhattan with the boat. So.
Oh, I would hope not. I would hope not. I hope that, you know, I know he ranks on us all the time, but apparently his heart is with us because he's got an apartment here on Staten Island. He's investing here on Staten Island. And I think that that's, you know, absolutely fantastic. I think that, you know, this is a great first move. So would you guys go and go to a comedy club that's on an old Staten Island ferry? I'm interested.
The only comedy club here was in a bowling alley. So I mean, come on, we're upgrading in Staten Island.
Yeah. You know, I'm just realizing now that because we added, I might not be seeing all the comments that are coming through here because we added another channel to our podcast. So I am going to take a look and see, Jen, you got to look at your Facebook page too and see if anybody is commenting there, because that, you know, we only get the feed off of one. We don't get it off of all. And so if you want to ask questions, please, I hope you're on my professional page.
To do
What's that?
I need my computer then to do that.
Ah, gotcha.
I have my computer.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, you know what? We'll be better plan. Oh, there we go. We'll plan better for next week.
Yeah.
All right. So more news, Jen. What else is going on? Did you see the Joe Biden speech?
Yes, and it was horrific, and he's delusional, and you know, I think he's going to be my next victim now that de Blasio is gone and he's not running for governor. I have no one to make fun of, but I did, and absolute disgrace. And I asked you yesterday, I said, do they really believe what they say? Are they that nuts? Or are they all like conjuring together to lie? Because I can't fathom.
Well, the thing I saw was Trump. It's Trump's fault. It's the Republicans' fault. But on your TikTok, you have a video, right, of Joe Biden
when he was a kid. Yeah.
All right. We'll tee that up right now. Let me get that up.
So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, we're going to get a lot done. And if we have to, if there's complete lockdown and chaos as a consequence of the filibuster, then we'll have to go beyond what I'm talking about. Okay, hang on. Sorry. Oh, Miss Kim.
So I'm noticing backstage, as you were watching that clip and you ended it with your head shake, you did the same thing as you were backstage in the studio. It's crazy, crazy. Lucille says Biden I lost my mind. He buried himself. It was so bad. And the vice president, oh my God, his mind kept pausing. I agree, Lucille. It was crazy. And it was embarrassing for the country. I will say this. He did say something. There was one honest comment in all of his press conference, and that was when he said that his administration is doing better than people expected it to do. Well, that's true, because I had low expectations of this administration. I expected a world war, which might be possible still in the future. But so far we haven't got that. So maybe, he's not getting any bells from me, Jen.
I don't think he's getting bells from anybody. His own people hate him. They really do. It's terrible. I really don't know how this exists anymore. I literally, all I do is shake my head. This is all I do. I can't believe what has become this country. It's a disgrace.
Angela Ricca is on with us. She said, "Happy Friday." Oh, come on, give him a medal. He stood for a whole 3 hours, lol, or 2 hours. Yeah, that became the litmus test, right, Angela? Is that he could stand up there for an hour, 45 minutes or hour, 50 minutes and hold a news conference by himself. And that's how it was billed too. I mean, all of the news stations billed it as the first solo presidential press conference, of his administration. Well, really, the first solo, press conference of his administration? That's kind of crazy that they would applaud him for doing that. Didn't Trump stand up there for hours answering press questions?
100%. And I said yesterday, this isn't even fun. Like, you literally have to try and sit there and be still and listen to what he's trying to get out of his mouth. There's no joke. He can't speak. He can't put two words together, and he's leading our country. It's a disgrace. It's really, I don't know. 3 more years. We have 3 more years with this bullshit.
Yeah, well, it's just, to me, we have lowered the bar so completely for our president and our vice president with him and Kamala. I mean, we've absolutely, to applaud him, for being able to hold a solo press conference or not screwing up so badly in that 2-hour period. It's just, we deserve better. As Americans, we deserve better. And we have to demand better too. And I think too, the thing that I got out of that press conference was when he said that if the filibuster wasn't broken and the voting legislation wasn't passed, that we would not have fair and open elections. And I call bullshit on that.
100%.
Absolute bullshit. Because if he believes that the election that got him in office was fair and open, but if the states are allowed to change their rules to ensure that our elections don't run rampant and that we don't have the games being played that were played in the last election, or the perception of it in the last election. It's crazy. He was gaslighting us at every step of the way.
100%. He's trying to change the rules to protect himself. That's what he's doing. And now he's doing filibuster. He's breaking it down into sections now so that he can get his way.
Absolutely. And it was like he's gaslighting the American people, telling us things are not as bad as we think they are. Things are, you're wrong if you think that, that schools are closed and that we have a problem. You're wrong, because 95% of schools are open. The press is presenting it wrong. If they would only just present it right, 95% of schools are open. Really? Well, I thought in America, 100% of the schools were supposed to be open. Right? Isn't that, nobody's going to give you a pat on the back for having 95% of schools open. So crazy stuff. Absolute crazy stuff.
Wrong. Look, all of a sudden now, COVID's ending. I told you, it's ending.
Well, I don't know that it's ending. I mean, yesterday the CDC they came out with guidelines or a study. I'm sorry, there was a study yesterday that said that if you had natural immunity, you weathered the Delta variant better than those who got vaccinated and never had natural immunity. But they say, but the CDC maintains, and they said so in the study, that those who had the OG COVID and who got a vaccine fared better than those who just had COVID alone.
Did they ask every single person that had COVID? Like, really? Come on, who was asking?
And then if you never had COVID but had the vaccine, you were the least protected, other than the people who never had COVID and never got the vaccine. That's how so, I mean, what are their stages now of COVID? I mean, if you had COVID and you didn't get COVID, the Delta variant, then you were protected. If you had the vaccine and the Delta variant, if you were one of those that didn't get it, that was, a percentage. But more people who had the vaccine got the Delta variant than people who had OG COVID. So again, we're playing the weird science, and the CDC is playing games.
3 times, all 3 variants with 1 vaccine. Go ahead, study me. Tell me where that is.
Well, now they're putting their website on their website. They're putting that you need to be up to date with your shots. So what does up to date mean? Up to date means that you have to have all 3. You have to have 2 shots and the booster. And
my card.
Kidding. Jen, what happened to Johnson & Johnson? The one-shot wonder. What happened to that?
They put it back on the market. I don't know. What do you mean? It's still there. But
they're saying you need 3 shots now. So wasn't Johnson & Johnson 1 shot?
Well, yes, but now Pfizer has the pill that kills Omicron. So isn't it funny that their vaccine didn't work, and all of a sudden there's a pill?
Yeah, there's a pill.
They were able to. Vaccine and the pill they were working on coinciding, but they couldn't fix it in the vaccine, but they made a pill.
They made a pill. Yeah. So Anna Smedberg is with us. Hi, Anna. Now Anna's husband had COVID recently. Well, their whole family, suffered like we did in the beginning. But thankfully everybody is well, and it's great that you're joining us. Angela Ricca brings up a good point. She says that all through that 2 hours, we never mentioned the border, and we never mentioned crime.
Why would we? Then they would know that something's really wrong.
So if he admits it, the only way that it's true is if Biden actually says it.
Of course, he's our leader.
Yeah. So it's absolute crazy stuff. Speaking of crime, what's going on with your friend, the District Attorney of Manhattan, Mr. Bragg?
Oh, Braggs, yes, Braggs. 9. Was it 9, 8 or 9? The assistant DAs quit. Totally left. And I just heard Kamala Harris too. Her staff is leaving as well. You see this crap? Everybody is waking up. They're all, I hate the word, woke, but they all left. They all left. And it's crazy because, like I said before, you know, he doesn't want to nonviolent crimes like getting caught with an illegal gun. If you get caught with an illegal gun, there's a reason why you have that gun. You're just not walking around. There's a reason. So if you don't arrest them for that when they get caught, obviously they're gonna
there's a reason. Oh, sorry.
Like, hey, that's me. They're gonna out what they bought the gun for, what they intend to use it for. The guy with Burger King, long rap sheet. So, you know, listen, someone said to me today, when is Adams going to overthrow him? That's a great question.
Well, but Adams can't. It has to be the governor that can get rid of him.
Okay.
So that becomes a question. When will the governor get rid of him? Anna asks, what is the catch if Staten Island becomes separated from New York City? Sounds awesome. Always wanted to be separated. However, sounds too good to be true. What can the possible downsides be that we don't see? And Marianne Guerrero says our taxes will definitely go up. Anna, yeah, that's the downside of separating from the city, is that everybody that's a city employee will now not be employed on Staten Island. So, and all of the services, the sanitation, the road work, traffic, transportation, all of that stuff, either Staten Island, the city would have to purchase or lease the stuff from New York City proper, or they'd have to rip it out and install their own. Well, maybe we could get Irby to do the installations.
Listen, I got 3 new appliances this week.
So, in order for Staten Island to be self-sufficient, the taxes that, we'd have to tax. That's how you pay for the services. That's how you pay for all of that. But I wonder, I mean, I don't know that the taxes will definitely go up. Maybe we don't, recognize now that we pay more in as Staten Islanders in taxes than we actually get back in services. So there's a possibility that the taxes won't go up.
Because, well, I would think we're not giving them to anybody else but ourselves.
Well, I mean, listen, there a study needs to be done, obviously, but it's like, who will be our fire department? Who will be our police department? Who will be our educators? What will our school system look like? Well, our hospitals are our hospitals because we have no city hospitals. So that's usually a really, really big, big ticket item. So we're cool with that because both our hospitals are private anyway, and they get no city funding. We're the only borough that doesn't have a city funded hospital. But our roads, our traffic lights, the mechanics of Staten Island would have to be figured out. So if you are a city worker working on Staten Island, you'd no longer be employed on Staten Island because they wouldn't be providing service to Staten Island. So that's all we have to really figure out is, what do we want to see on Staten Island? We obviously health and hospitals. So we have that with those two. We need law enforcement. So we would need a sheriff or however, the government was set up. Police department, fire department. A lot of places have only volunteer.
Listen, like Cedar Grove, the beach in Staten Island, they had private cleanups and stuff like that because the city, I don't know how that worked out, but the city didn't clean their beaches. It was privately cleaned.
Right, because it was same with Gateway. Gateway is a federal Gateway, and also Fort Wadsworth. Right, these are national parks. So the city, they don't do anything there. If the feds could enter into a contract with the city to provide park enforcement patrol there. And we could do the same thing, Anna and Marianne. We could, if we wanted to, rent the cops we could enter into a contract and say, we want your sanitation to pick up here. So, how much would it cost us? And get a municipality to municipality discount. When I was running for borough president, I truly wanted us to succeed, and I wanted to draft a plan to show people how that would work. And it really is, it's just a matter of entering into memorandums of understanding or actual contracts with the city for certain things. And if we bought all of the street lights, that could be done with bonds. We would need to create a situation where we could have our own bond rating, and we get that from the state. So Kim Salvo joined us. Thank God it's Friday. I agree, Kim. She says as long as they don't put sales tax back on clothing. Rudy fought so hard for that. He did, and I was there with Bill and with Bob Catrona when we got that removed. But it was the governor. Sales tax is the governor. And we removed sales tax on clothing. Governor with Rudy, they did that together. And again, so we could decide we don't want any sales tax. We could decide, see, now your city income tax, we wouldn't have to pay city income tax to New York City because we do right now. We could have a flat tax. We could have a consumption tax. In other words, there's no break if you make so much money, and there's no more being paid at the top if you make so much money. Instead, if you buy a boat, you're going to pay a tax, whatever that tax is on that boat. And if you buy a candy bar, you're going to pay tax on that. It's called a consumption tax, and it's a great leveler for the economy, because the presumption is that people, the rich can't, or not only the rich, anybody, you can't have a loophole for not paying taxes, because as long as you purchase it, you have to pay taxes on it. So, it presumed that the more money you have, the more you spend. So the more taxes you would buy, and the less money you have, the less you spend. So the less taxes you would pay. It's a really good plan, I think. And it's one that I've long championed. I think we should use it in the country.
Like the Gowanus repairs, it's going to take forever. I don't think it'll happen anytime in our lifetime, but hopefully it will.
What, secession?
Yeah.
Well, it could. Lucille says worth the money for better services, the bridge. Yeah, again, then there would have to be a negotiation, right? With, we might not be able to get part of the toll money, Lucille. We could get a ground rent because that bridge touches down on our property. So if they don't want to give us a break, for the bridge, we could get rent from the bridge. So if it collects $100 million a year, maybe the rent would be, $40 million for them to be able to have that bridge on our shore. These are the things that you have to think about. Yeah. It's like business. You have to think about what your investment is, and what your outcome is going to be, and what your desired goal is going to be. And then you figure out how much money you need to take in order to support that. And we'd have our own city charter, and we'd have our own elected officials, and we'd have our own legislative body for just the 500 people that live on Staten Island.
What happened with the buses and the trains?
Well, that's an MTA, right? The MTA is not city. The MTA is state. So we would still get buses and trains. We'd still get MTA service. Because MTA is an authority similar to the one I worked for, the Battery Park City Authority, and how it operates is off of the fares, right? That it gets. Right now, it's a money loser, so the state gives money to it. But we would
the MTA as well, and the money from the bridge. Does it go to the MTA? Where does it go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the money from the bridge is given to the MTA to spend on improving public transportation. There's a mandated amount. I think it's $150 million. I'm sorry, 15. Oh, now I've forgotten. I think it's $150 million a year that must be spent to improve public transportation in New York City. And then the rest of it can be spent how the MTA wants it to be spent.
Oh, they spend it on Nothing's improved. It gotten worse. It's gotten worse.
Well, that initial investment is usually put into the buses and, like the next bus, and other improvements for buses. It's been used for, and also subways. It's been used for. But after that first 150 million, the rest of it is spent by the MTA any way it wants to, and
Eddie
up until.
Sorry, go
Sorry.
ahead. No, Eddie Masterson said, don't mind paying something in taxes just as long as the money goes to something productive like fixing up the community. MTA gets more money than anyone and nothing is done. He's
Absolutely. Right. The MTA doesn't have a mandate to spend money into improving the community. I
No.
mean, that's the whole thing. It has the mandate is to provide public transportation services.
No, he's saying he doesn't mind paying taxes as long
I'm sorry.
as taxes go to something like making the community better, of course. And that's why Jersey is so much better. I hate Jersey, but that's why roads get fixed in a day. Schools are better. You don't have to worry about sending your kid to private school. Everything's good because your taxes are higher, but it goes to bettering what you get.
That's
you
right.
Get
That's right. And so, listen, I think that probably what we should all be doing is calling Senator Andrew Lanza's office, because Senator Lanza is hell-bent on moving secession. And he has been talking about it, and we should give him as much help as we can on it. Because if, we can... Secession is a blank canvas, and anybody that says, oh, our taxes are going to go up, this and that, and everything is for definite. No, it's not for definite. We can make this look any way we want it to look. But there's going to be a lot of negotiation that has to go on. Negotiation on our property taxes, negotiation for our municipal services, our roads, things like that. But the borough president then would not be a borough president anymore. There would be a different structure, and it would be it could be a county.
mayor. Like would we have a different, like in Jersey, like every county mayor? What about schools?
Well, the schools too now. So they're owned right now by the Department of Education. So obviously you can't just tear down all the schools. You will want to. The schools are there. So, but in one fell swoop, you can't just buy the schools. So you would work out a deal with the city of Staten. Let's just say it would be a city of Staten Island, right? Because it could be two. It could be a county structure like Westchester, right, where there's a county exec. And then there's bodies, and then there are towns under the county exec where there's a town council and a mayor of the town. So let's picture this. Staten Island would be, let's go with that structure, a county structure. So the county executive, and I believe now, I can't remember who the county exec is of Westchester, but the county executive would be literally that would be the person in charge of the operations of all of the county. Now, underneath that person, there would be towns. So like Newdorp would have could be a town of Newdorp, and there would be a town council, and Great Kills and Tauntonville and Huguenot and Stapleton and Tompkinsville all would be towns. So, or we could say we want to make it smaller, easier, because right now we're a north, south, east, and west shore.
Yeah, you could do that.
So more likely thing would be East Shore Town Council, North Shore Town Council, West Shore Town. Okay, but it could be anything, right? You have to think it could be anything. And then the executive would negotiate with the city for the schools. Angela's saying, could we rent the schools back? Absolutely, we could rent the schools back. Each, we would say per student, per school, it would cost this much rent. So we know what that budget is for Staten Island for education. Then we'd have to pay for the teachers, right? So we'd have to know what that is, and the principals and the custodians and the support staff. But it's simple budgeting. It's budgeting. It's like selling widgets.
You do know we can't fill a pothole here.
Well, let me just tell you something. We can fill a pothole here, because guess what? I think it was last winter, there were potholes down in by the Marina Cafe, and they weren't getting filled. And so I called my friend and we got the asphalt and I filled that pothole.
Those were the last potholes that were filled. You think
Do you like my
any
cup, Jen? Do
special
you like
crap is going to happen?
it's true. It's the last pot. I'm showing off my cup. Proud card carrying member of the NRA. The only thing that Bragg said he was going to do is to leave people who have guns alone. So that's interesting. I wonder though, he won't prosecute people who are carrying an illegal gun if they're committing a misdemeanor crime. But will he prosecute people who have illegal guns in their home that aren't committing a crime, or let their gun license expire, or don't want to pay the exorbitant fees? I wonder.
Well, all I know is thank God we don't live in Manhattan.
Yeah, well, thank God. Okay, so Lucy Calfano is here, and she's saying so many speed cameras on the island, and you're absolutely right. Anna loves my cup. I love it too. And I love the Second Amendment. And I'm going on Tuesday to South Carolina where I could exercise it at will. I'm going back to the gun range, which I'm going to go buy my gun for the house. I love that gun that I was shooting.
You could buy a license down there.
What's that?
You could buy a gun without a license down there?
No, you get your license and it takes a couple of days to get your gun license.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah. They
but
do
now
back
you got it down there and then you move back here, you can't bring it, right?
I can't bring it unless I have a carry license, and it has to be an interstate carry license, but I have to have a New York gun license because that's it. So that's New York makes it very hard for law-abiding citizens to own guns, unfortunately. And
they're not going to register a gun. They're getting them off the streets, so it doesn't matter.
Well, because the definition of a criminal, by its definition, a criminal doesn't obey the laws. So every time I hear somebody saying we've got to be tougher on guns, we got to stop these guns, blah blah. So they make it harder for you to get a gun license.
But those aren't the people that are committing the crimes.
That's right.
Someone who's going to go shoot, like the guy in Burger King, did not put in for a license to get a gun to kill that girl in Burger King.
That's right.
He put a gun underground somewhere, and that's how he did it.
Well, it's as ridiculous as people saying, take the vaccine to protect me. It's the same kind of mentality. Felicia, how you doing, Felicia? Felicia says, and it's easy for criminals. All right. It's easy for criminals to get a gun because they don't care about the law. They don't care about now, especially that they know they're not going to be prosecuted. They flaunt, they flaunt this and they do whatever the hell they want. Now, there are some people that the thought was if more people own guns, even if they own them legally, then criminals can break into their house, steal them, and then there'll be illegal guns on the street. I call bullshit on that.
Such bullshit. Such bullshit.
But that's how they brainwash people into thinking like they think. I can't buy a gun because it'll save your life. By me not being allowed to own a gun, it'll save your life because a criminal won't be able to steal it from me.
Ask because I'm wearing mine and you have to protect me.
Right, exactly.
Ask us. Go drive in your car.
Felicia's telling us that her daughter resigned because of the mandates. Where was she? Was she PD? Was she
at my door? So you talk and ask.
Oh, now I'm now I get to be the solo host, the producer, and the whatever. Paid taxes and can't get unemployment. What Catholic school? Okay, so she was an educator. It's atrocious to me that de Blasio's parting gift to not just the city of New York, but to all of us were these stupid mandates. Because if de Blasio, he tested the water for it, and then everybody followed suit. He literally has changed the face of America. And, I always said that he was like the evil Dr. Cocktail in Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. And now he's shown it to be real. He actually made national change from New York City Hall. And he was the most incompetent, boobalicious mayor we ever had. And he has literally helped to destroy, America as we know it post-pandemic. It's just a sin. Just a sin. Robert Shelley is here. Hey, Rob, how are you? Murphy's starting too. Dumb piece of 5. Wait, what? What do you mean Murphy's starting? Not
Mark Murphy?
Who Murphy? Oh, Jersey Murphy. Oh, I keep forgetting there's a Murphy.
Mark Murphy too.
What's that?
What's his name in Jersey? Murphy.
No, I think it's John Murphy. Phil Murphy.
Oh, it was Mark as well. So. Yeah.
So Rob is saying that Murphy is mandating vaccines. I don't understand this. I just saw a segment on the news. I'll shut up.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Talk.
It doesn't work. We just proved it. America collectively all got COVID. What is it? They said in 80 or 90% of Americans are vaccinated. Everyone got COVID. So what the fuck are we getting a vaccine for? Why are we putting something in our body that we don't know the long-term effects for to protect us against nothing?
Well, you know what? I just want to, I agree with you, but I want to say this, is that the problem is and we said this in the past shows, but we'll say it again because Laura Hoffman just joined in and she said she lives in Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn, Laura. So like many Staten Islanders are. And then all of the Staten Islanders went to Jersey with Rob Shelley. But you know what? The word vaccine was the wrong word. It should have said shot. It's a COVID shot, because the only thing that it's been proven to do is to lessen the effects it has on the person who took the shot.
Or kill you.
Well, we don't talk about the people, unfortunately, who have died from the shot. We're not allowed to talk about that because big tech and social media won't allow that to happen. They'll take you right down. But people have died from the shot. People have died from the flu shot. People have died from
Botox. And you could die from anything, but nobody lets you know that there is a chance that something can happen. Instead, and I said it before, and I'll say it again, they don't warn you. Instead, they assure you that nothing is going to happen. It's mind-boggling that they're blindsiding us and just saying it's fine. You can do this. Nothing's going to happen to you. How is that possible?
Because people like de Blasio want to see how far they can push the envelope. And that's what he did with these mandates. He figured, let me see how much they'll take. And now, you know what? We're in a supply chain shortage right now. And about 50% of truckers are vaccinated. Only 50%.
Yeah. You know what I just realized?
What?
Pfizer and Moderna, they don't have their own commercials for the shots. No, because I think because of insurance and lawsuits. Because they don't even know. They haven't put out their own commercials. Why?
Well, that's right. That's absolutely right. And that's why the shots are not in doctors' offices. Rob Shelley says mRNA inhibitors are not vaccines. That's right. They aren't vaccines. And that's the whole thing. Felicia says, what I think it was Felicia who asked the question. What happened? Oh, it was Rob. What happens when people get other diseases and their immune systems are now compromised because of the shot? And these are legitimate questions.
Donna Laura just said instead they threaten to take away your livelihood if you don't get the shot.
That's right. So now I was saying about the truckers. Okay. So only 50% of truckers, America's truckers, are vaccinated. At the Canadian border, they won't let you pass unless you can show them a vaccine card. So now guess what's going to happen? So we're not going to get, and 80% of the truckers, when they were polled, said they will, those who weren't vaxxed said, I will not get it. I'll give up my job before I get a vaccine. Now think about this. This insanity is spiraling, and now we are losing the ability to have food. We go into restaurants. I saw a meat packing place who can't sell their beef because the restaurants are all.
I went to CVS yesterday. I needed garbage bags. Do you know that there was one box of garbage bags? There was no toilet paper. There was two things of nothing. They're wiped out. I went to go buy water online for Dr. Liederman's office the other day. You can't even buy 24 packs of water. It's gone.
It's gone.
But she didn't believe me. She checked. She goes, oh, shit, you're right. It's gone. There's nothing because no one's able to work because they don't want to get the vaccine.
Back in 2020, when in February, when we decided to shut down the economy, I predicted this. I said it has to be only for 2 weeks because if it goes longer, our economy will crumble. And at the time, I remember the cancel culture went crazy on me that I was murderous, that I was trying to murder their grandmother, blah, 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 blah. But here we are 3 years later. And we are now seeing the devastation of this. And the worst part is that we had bounced back when everything started to open in the summer. We were bouncing back, and Trump got the economy back on its feet. He had everything back under control, and then here we go again. As soon as we started with these vaccine mandates,
they managed to close everything down on March 15th, which is the start of the quarter for taxes for businesses. Right. They waited. It was such a devastating pandemic. They waited until March 15th. So everybody had to pay their taxes. All the businesses, they were closing down. Then the summer hits, they open up. The summer is the most people are out, right? Most people are out. You're all congregating. You're all having a good time. They made their money back. Then they close down again when it slows down. There's a pattern here. It's a total pattern.
Well, the pattern is incompetent politicians. Laura Hoffman says that she has natural immunity since March 2020. So do we. We covered earlier that CDC actually had a study. There was a study published by the CDC that natural immunities from the OG, I think they're calling it the Alpha variant, which was the original variant. Natural immunities worked better against the Delta variant than people who were vaccinated. But then they went on to say the people who were vaccinated and had Alpha were the most protected. How do you be the most protected? Either you're protected or you're not protected, so it's crazy. But the fact that they're starting to admit it now, that the natural antibodies count for something, to me, they needed to go the rest of the way, because I think that people would have trusted the CDC more if they would have said from the beginning, look, we don't know how long the natural antibodies are carried. We know how long the vaccine antibodies are carried, which, by the way, is hardly any time at all, because we need boosters.
Any sense, because every single person's different. It's like with Botox. Some people get Botox, it lasts a month. Some people get it lasts 2 years.
Right.
There's no way of telling. It's medicine, and everybody.
There is a way. You know the way? You get a blood test and you see if you have the antibodies.
That's
or not.
it. And you know what? Instead of having that card, you should have a card with your antibodies on it. Then, if they're gonna treat this like I don't even want to say it, but if they're gonna treat it like that, then you know what? Get your antibody test. There's your card.
And there you go. And then we wouldn't have this mess that we have right now, because I think the majority of people who don't want to be vaccinated are those people who already have antibodies, and young. What'd you say?
Smart people. We're smart. I say we're very smart. Look what happened. Everyone waited it out, and guess what? It's all coming down. Yeah. Everything's blocked by the Senate.
Well, it just makes sense. Any kind of virus, it has to work itself out. And when we understand that, scientists know that. That's the thing. I understand the panic back in 19 and 2020. I remember when we got sick. I mean, we didn't want to tell anybody because you were like Typhoid Mary, oh my God, you got the virus. But now, we understand how viruses work. So let it peter itself out. There are still people dying from COVID, but there are people that die from the flu. There are people
Oh,
that,
what is it? 600,000? How many people die a year? Not 600.
about 70,000 people a
70,
year die from the flu.
70 to 90,000. But isn't the CDC, and I read the CDC like the Bible, the CDC has absolutely no track of the flu last year. Zero.
Yeah.
Zero. They never did it. But if you read what they say and what we're told, if you really go on the CDC and read, they do mention everything, but it's in very fine print.
Fine print.
It's there, but you have to read it. They're not telling us. You have to go and read it.
Yep.
You got to read it.
The thing is that this is a disease that 99.8% of the people survived. But is all we heard and have talked about is the 2% that have passed on. And I truly believe that, if you look at it annually instead of collectively, if you look at how many people die from COVID annually, then you're going to have a number that looks more like the flu.
Of course.
Those who died of COVID when it first came out, I think it was because we didn't know how to treat it.
Yeah. But you don't died from COVID. First off, you can't be on a respirator for more than 2 weeks. It is
without being trained, right?
Secondly, like I said, I have congestive heart failure. I did not know I had it, but when I went to the doctor 2 years, I found out. But I didn't know I had it for all that time. So you can have diabetes. You can have high blood. I didn't know I had high blood pressure until I went to go into corrections. They thought it was panic attacks. It was my blood pressure going through the roof and it was killing me every time. I was like, but I'm fine. They figured it out. It was high blood pressure. For 2 years, I was tortured. High blood pressure. Mm-hmm. You don't know unless you go to the doctor. And most people don't because they can't afford insurance. They don't go. So when you die of COVID, you had COVID in the hospital. The hospital's what? They get 30,000 if you die, or whatever they get if you die of COVID. But if you're on a respirator, you get 90.
Yeah.
But they're not going to put you through tests to see if you had a heart condition, if you had they're not doing that. They're not. If you had a brain aneurysm, if you came in and who knows, the COVID, you had the flu, it could have activated your aneurysm somewhere in your body. They don't know this. So for them to say it is just ridiculous. Unless they're going to put your body through $1 million worth of tests when you die, there's no way of telling if it was really COVID or what triggered it. Because even the flu or a common cold, or, you get sick, your blood pressure goes through the roof and it triggers something else.
Yeah, look, what about the guy that died of a motorcycle accident? And they said it was due to COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people, did they say it was COVID death? And it really wasn't COVID death.
The nurses, they all filmed themselves on Facebook saying this guy came in with a heart attack and they put him in the COVID unit and said he died of COVID. They lost their jobs. They did that. They filmed it and they showed the screen. They showed it. And she said, he had a heart attack. He came in here with a heart attack. He did not come in here with COVID.
Well, and it's not even a secret. I mean, it's people know that's what's going on. I mean, it's not even a secret, and it's laughable. And then when I always think it's amazing that people call me a conspiracy theorist, that people say that I am being controlled by Trump, or I'm a COVID denier, or any of those things. When they try and label me, I'm not a COVID denier. I say it again and again. If I didn't have COVID and still have antibodies that, oh, by the way, go up and up and up, and we just did your father's, and mine's over 200 and his is at 193. He had COVID a couple of days before me, like you did. So we all have been going up. So it's a healthy number according to my doctor. So if I didn't have the antibodies, I'd have gotten the shot. I'd absolutely gotten the shot, because you know why? Why not? I mean, I put worse things than that in my body when I was a teenager. So, I mean, I lived through the 80s, for God's sake. You think that a little, a vaccine's going to be my downfall? Not in your life. But for young people, and for pregnant women and for nursing women, if I was any of those things, I'd never do it. And damn well, my concern with your son getting the shot, even though he's been pressured to get it, is that check his antibodies. See, because it's in young kids that the blood clots were occurring, and nurses
matter. He's not getting it.
Yeah. But it's not like we said, oh no, we're COVID deniers and we don't like the shot.
Yes, the flu exists, COVID exists, everything exists.
Yeah.
It's the way to deal with it. And this usually when something goes through the system, you test on lab rats, there's years and years, 5 to 7 years of studies. We were the first study and the only.
Right. And there's always an option. We were able to keep ourselves. There are people that were free from COVID for all of the time and haven't gotten the vaccine. Why aren't we studying them? Why did they escape it, even though they were exposed to it? Now they're saying that if you smoke pot, you're less likely to get COVID.
Oh, cool.
There's a survey, you have secondhand smoke all around you. So maybe that'll help you in the future.
Your house. That's why. Around
and the other thing is that we've all agreed, and CDC and Fauci and everybody else, that these masks that we've been wearing do not stop you from getting COVID. So, but they're still demanding.
Up off your car floor and put on your face.
But they're demanding that young kids have masks. And Felicia said it's disgusting that they want the little children to be masked. And Rob Shelley says the masks are to shut us up. And you know what, Rob, you're right. And you know what else? It's to allow for criminals to go into a bank and rob you and not be identified. So, I worry about the psychological damage that's being done to kids right now with these masks, especially teenagers who already don't like their face and, whatever, and they want to hide. This is making it that much easier. And, the remote options, I'm glad we have them right now. Not so much because I worry about your son getting COVID, but I worry about him traveling on the subway.
I'm all for it.
I mean, honestly, traveling on public transportation now, you need a life insurance policy. You're taking life into your hands.
I'm not learning until it goes out. I'm good.
And it's not
$1,000 a year. I don't care.
Well, we were talking about Biden, and we're in the gaslighting of America by him standing here telling us that the media asked the question wrong. The other thing that Biden said in his press conference was it was Trump's fault, and that the Republicans in the Senate don't stand for anything because they're not going to roll back the filibuster. So he accused Republicans of not standing for anything. And I like to say
stupidity.
Well, it's bullshit. The Republicans do stand for stuff. You know what the Republicans stand for? Less government, term limits, a balanced budget, free and open marketplace, no mandates about somebody's personal health. They stand for not giving away money. They stand for closing the border and making sure that people who immigrate to this country do so safely and under rules and regulations. That's what Republicans stand for. And guess what? Guess who stands for that too? Because polls have shown that they are coming over to the Republicans in droves, the Hispanic population. And guess who is number 2? The Black population. So for Joe Biden to say Republicans don't stand for anything, that's just bullshit. That's not uniting a country. That's dividing us. And for him telling us that 95% of schools being open should be good enough for us, you know what? Screw you, Joe Biden. We don't pay tax. Then when I write my check to the IRS, I'm only going to give you 95%.
Yeah, okay. Good luck.
95% of what I owe. I mean, yeah, it's bullshit. We have a lot. Yeah, Felicia, say let's go, Brandon. No problem, Felicia. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
Next week, please get it.
What, the bullshit button? Yeah, I would, but you don't want to see my ass as I go up the stairs. It's just upstairs. But next week I'll have the bullshit button. Do you guys think the plan is to employ the illegals and terminate the others? Rob, I have said from the get-go that George Soros's movement, and also all of the stupid media tech guys, and all of these, big bucks, daddy war bucks types, that it's now a war. The elite is waging war on the American worker. That's what I believe, and I believe that Soros getting rid of all of the district attorneys that were willing to prosecute crime was a slow way of trying to push people out of the cities and allow for more low income people to move into the cities, reducing the value of the property in the cities. And so he could buy up more, and so that we could get rid of single family homes, and we could build more tenements, and have better control over people. So I've said that for a long time, but I think COVID sped up that agenda. And now what we see is, if we let so many illegal people who are willing to work over the border, we could get rid of the pesky Americans and their demand for a fair living wage to be paid. We could get rid of the unions.
They already got rid of us. They paid us to stay home during, well, not me, I wish, but the other people, they paid them to stay home, top dollar, double what they were making to stay home. And now they're firing the rest of them because they won't get a vaccine. So
that's right. So now think about it. So now we have a bunch of people who came over the border who are willing to work, and they are, and now they don't know what the going rate is. They'll take anything, because where they're coming from, the countries they're coming from, they can't even feed themselves. So it's going to reset the wage across the world, and the elites will be able to have laborers. And with fentanyl coming into the country, killing our kids, and the dumbing down of our kids in school, and the mask, and the follow the authority, don't question, let the government give you everything. All of this is a recipe for the elites to be able to control the population. At the end of the day, if you want to see what we will wind up with without patriots like me, Jen, and all of you,
you'll see. No, I'm kidding.
You can go to Williamsburg, and same thing for Venezuela, Cuba, go and see China, go and see all the minions working because the emperor says this is what you do, or the fascist dictator says this is what you do. That's what this is all about. It's to make more money for the elites, and to level. It's a great reset. That's what it is. It's a great reset. And when we come out the other side, if we don't fight back, we're all going to be told what to eat, how to eat it, when you can eat it, what to wear. It sounds like it's a bad dream, but I don't know. The juvenile suicide rate is 300% up. Yes, Rob, it is 300% up. And listen, the kids are killing themselves with fentanyl right now. They're killing themselves with pot. We're walking around fat, dumb, and lazy. Americans. We don't have God. We don't have religion. All of that's bad. The family unit is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we looking forward to? He says that Republicans don't stand for anything. Well, we stand for a lot. And I'm not going to put us all in one box, but because it's not just Republicans, it's conservative-minded individuals. And I think that we're starting to see, when they went after God and religion, they went too far. Rob Shelley, they raised minimum wage so high, they aren't going to pay for that. I agree with you so much. Felicia, how does this guy get away with all this stuff?
I disagree. I think it's nothing. I think that the way you have to spend to live, I mean, I think $15 an hour is nothing. I think it's a joke, especially with healthcare, when you have the rent and everything you have to do to live, food, gas is $4 a gallon.
Yeah, but $15 an hour in South Carolina is a lot of money.
No, it's really not, because I was just there with you, and the prices are not that much cheaper.
Mm.
They're really not.
Uh,
Actually, all leveling out throughout the country with pricing. Even Jersey price.
Right. Now the great reset, right? Now if we could get all the prices at the same, right? Because now, right now, in Cuba, if you want to fix the hurricane made in your roof, you have to get a permit and wait online to be able to buy the material to do that. Even if you have the money, which most people don't, you have to wait to buy the material until the government says that you can have it. Think about that. That's where we are right now. Supply chain is a problem, and they're not making it easier. The reason we're having a problem with supply chain isn't because it's not being made, but because we can't get it into the country and trucked across the nation. But that could easily be solved. Leave the truckers the fuck alone.
Oh, who the fuck cares if they're vaccinated?
And let them get to where they have the supplies where they have to go, but they're not going to do that. So this is an injury of our own making, of our government's making. Does it sound suspicious to you yet? What's going on? Lucille Chavone said, "Oh my God, just lost 2 teenagers to suicide. So sad." Lucille, my deepest condolences. I am so sorry for you and for their parents. It's a tragedy. Rob, I agree. The average small house in Jersey is $420,000. You don't even get a shed. That's right. Rob Shelley, I love him. He just agrees with us. Are you a long lost relative? The kids don't even learn cursive. All the documents are written in cursive. Declaration of Independence. You are absolutely right. And this is a joke now. When I was a kid, when my parents didn't want us to know what they were saying, they would speak in Italian. Now, Jen, when I don't want your son to know what I'm saying to your father, I write a note in cursive and I hand it to him. I'm astounded that the blacks support these people. They will be canceled with illegals. I think that it's stopping the black-white divide and the Hispanic and
it's ridiculous what happens.
And now it's working class and elite, I think, is dividing us. All right. Well, guess what? We're 7 minutes over. This is a really great show. Before we go, I just want to show you something. Yesterday, on the 1-year anniversary of Joe Biden's inauguration, our friend Scott Lebedo, the Patriot artist, actually unveiled portrait of Joe Biden, and I want to show it to you.
I haven't seen it.
There it is. There it is. Scott is a great patriot artist, and this is his portrait of it's called the
face. That's crazy.
Yeah, the official portrait of Joseph R. Biden. If you want it in print or the original, you could go to scottlebedo.com and you can purchase it there, and you can see some of his other satirical paintings there. And before we go, I want to give a shout out to Cornerstone Realty for suing the city against the vaccine mandate. So inclusive of my lawsuits, Cornerstone Realty and many, many others have lawsuits. Update on our lawsuit. It's still delayed. I'm sorry. I just had a little hiccup there. We're still delayed. The city has requested a delay from the judge, and the judge continues to give them those delays because they don't want to make a decision. So, okay, so that's my last word. Jen, what's your last words?
Word is nothing. I have to actually go down to maintenance and have them come back up because that's who's knocking on my door. They want to give me another free thing. So.
Oh, okay, very good. Well, when they start handing out free spouses or replacements, let me know. Well, the truth is,
out to Esca's because we're going there tonight for dinner, and they do not check vaccine cards. What?
You
He
shouldn't
has
say
it on
that.
his door.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Hello.
I hate getting small businesses. You're making them targets of,
They're not coming here. He has it on his door. The sign.
yeah. Well, I love Esca's,
Oh,
and yeah, definitely you should get down there and have dinner. And everyone, will see you next Friday. If you want to tell us your preference for a show name, please do. I didn't see Josephine on the feed. I know she was there, but next week we're going to be speaking to Silver Wolf. She is the head for New York State's Convention of States. And if you want to learn more about the Convention of States, it's conventionofstates.com. It is just quickly an opportunity for the people of the United States to overrun Congress to pass certain things in the Constitution. And what they are doing is, number one, is a mandatory balanced budget. Number two, term limits for congressional members. And number three, that members of Congress cannot exempt themselves from any of the rules and regulations they pass for the rest of America. So Silver is the New York State president for the Convention of States. So far, it's going on in all 50 states. They have chapters. You can look on the website and get the state that belongs to you. New Jersey has it, Pennsylvania, South Carolina. They all have a Convention of States. Now they need to pass legislation to bring the convention forward. So far, 14 states, their state houses have passed legislation to bring a convention forward so that we could change the Constitution without using Congress. It would be with us, the people, to do it. We'd each choose a representative to send to the convention, and they'd duke it out with the rest of the states. So she will be on. I will be with you from sunny South Carolina, hopefully, and I will hopefully have the third generation Josephine with me for a little bit. But you'll see us next week, and thank you all for tuning in.
Bye.